Welcome, everybody, to the Carroll Broadcasting and the Western Iowa Network's profile story tonight on Mitchell Nelsen of the Audubon Wheelers. Mitchell, a senior down here at Audubon, getting ready to start one of his last two sports seasons as a Wheeler, as he's going to be running track and then, of course, be playing baseball this summer. But we want to feature Mitchell because he has been a five-sport star for the Wheelers for his entire high school career, as long as being an honor student and a guy that's going to be going on to be an engineering major at Iowa State. So, Mitchell, appreciate your time here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Mitchell, let's start with your youth. When you were a kid, how did you get started in athletics, and what got you thinking that you wanted to participate in everything?
Well, I always liked watching sports on TV, and my parents were very supportive of my older sisters in their sports, and they would always take me with to watch my sisters, and I just always loved the atmospheres of the different sporting events, and figured I'd give them a try myself when I was little, and I liked them all. So,
what was it about watching your sisters, and which events did you really enjoy watching them participate in?
Well, as a kid, just the sports in general, any sport really. They were big on volleyball and basketball and track, and hurdles especially, I think, was one of my favorite things to watch because I would sit next to my parents, and they would, or even when my second and third sisters were in high school, my oldest sister would come back and watch with us and tell me things about the formulas and stuff and different things with hurdles. So it was always fun to watch and try to learn before it was really time to learn about the stuff.
Mitchell, sounds like kind of a tight-knit family. How much did your family impact you then on becoming the man you are today?
A lot. My parents and my three older sisters have always been really supportive and really pushing me to be the best I can be.
Let's go back to the youth a little bit. Education's been a huge part of your life as well. Again, an honor student here in National Honor Society. As a young kid playing a lot of sports, how did you find time and how did you get yourself focused on making sure to get good grades and become educated as well?
Yeah, always doing my best on everything I do is always what I tried to do from a young age. And my mom always told me, you're smart enough for this. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal. You can do it. All your sisters, they're all honor students too. So really, just my mom always told me I could do it. So I knew I could.
What classes did you really enjoy as a kid, kind of growing up, and what subjects did you enjoy studying?
I always liked math. I guess always been my favorite. That's probably why I'm going into engineering. But really, I enjoy them all. I enjoy learning in general and having the friends there in the classroom working together to figure the harder stuff out. I always like the more challenging classes.
And as you've gotten into junior high and high school, you've stayed with that. Take us through what a typical day for you school-wise is here at Audubon.
Well, this year I got advanced chemistry first period, and that's a college class that starts before regular school starts for everyone else. So that starts at 8 o'clock, and then everyone else starts at 8:18. And then I got a Spanish 4, and then I have ag studies, they call it. It's just getting me an ag credit, but giving me a study hall for my more difficult classes. And then I have another college class, Intro to Psychology, fourth period, and that it's sort of difficult, but it doesn't take me too long. I usually use that as another study hall to work on advanced chemistry. It takes most of my time, and calculus, which is sixth period after band, which I do band as well, I guess, and then calculus and econ and creative writing are my classes this year.
You mentioned band. What other activities are you all involved with along with band? Probably FFA, those type of things?
Yeah, I'm in FFA, band, Student Senate, NHS, like you mentioned, and if we do it again this year, I'll be on the quiz bowl team again, too.
How do you find the time to stay on the honor roll, get good grades, get your homework done, and participate in all these athletics at the same time?
Yeah, there's some nights where I get home and all I want to do is chill out on the couch and watch some TV, but I got to spend a half hour, an hour on some calculus and ACHEM and Spanish homework or whatever it is, but it's just a sacrifice you got to make.
As you said, you like math, probably your favorite subject. Does that make calculus easier to study for you then on those nights where you're kind of tired already?
Yeah, it might be a little easier, but it's still a really challenging class, and we're getting ready for the AP exam right now in that class, and it's still challenging, even though I like it.
Take us through a little bit of something that you're learning in calculus and what may be on that exam.
If there's a graph of a x cubed function, you got to be able to tell a point on the f prime and f double prime graphs and what that might be, and what that can tell you about different velocities and accelerations of things. Or it's a lot of big words, I guess.
And do you have a family member that is a math person or an engineer that kind of led you down this path, or was it just something you picked up on your own?
Yeah, Josie, my middle older sister, she was an engineering major in college, and I guess she likes what she does, and she doesn't make too bad of money either, so it seems like a pretty good thing to do.
Do you lean on her sometimes when you need a little help getting a problem done?
No, I usually got a good connection with my classmates. Andrew Bloom and Joseph Rendersburg and Lake Hacker, we like to butt heads a little bit on problems and figure it out together.
Sounds like a pretty smart group of guys. Has that helped all of you guys excel?
Yeah, we always work together on calculus, and Lake's not in chemistry, but advanced chemistry. Joseph and Amy and I really form a triangle there and help each other out on all the harder stuff, yeah.
We're talking right now with Mitchell Nelsen of the Audubon Wheelers, again, going to be graduating here in the spring, but again, a 5-sport star, along with all the other activities he mentioned here a little bit ago, and a National Honor Society student, and we're focusing in on him today. And again, this interview brought to you by Western Iowa Networks and, of course, Carroll Broadcasting. Mitchell, Iowa State, you're a college of choice. Was it strictly because of the great engineering program they have, and did you look at any other places?
Yeah, engineering was part of it, I guess, a small part, because I didn't know what I wanted to do for sure for a while until just recently. And all three of my older sisters went to Iowa State, and going up there to visit them, and we went to Iowa State football games, a couple basketball games. I just loved the atmosphere up there at those games, and then helping them move into all the dorm rooms and different apartments and rooms. I just learned the way around the rooms, and I see how much they enjoy it while they're up there, and when I'm up there, even as a kid, I enjoyed the different sights to see, I guess, at Ames, and just felt like home, I guess. So decided to go there, and I did look at a couple other schools. I considered, even Iowa, I guess. I took a short glance at every school. I think I thought about for more time than most going to college in Alaska, but that one didn't work out, I guess.
What was it about Alaska that intrigued you, and then why didn't it work out?
Just something different to do. Thought Alaska might be fun. I've always been interested in Alaska. For some reason, I don't know, I just find it interesting. Didn't work out because I just couldn't pull my eyes away from Iowa State. It just feels right.
Is it going to be difficult for you, having played 5 sports, and we'll tell everybody here in a moment those 5, but to not play any athletics, at least on a college team coming up here in the fall?
Yeah, it'll be pretty different, I think, shifting to just classes and then nothing after the classes, but I'll probably do some intramurals for sure, and maybe even some club sports up there while I'm up there, and I'll still stay active and try to not go insane from the lack of activity.
What club sports are you looking at playing?
Probably basketball if I do any, because basketball's always been my favorite.
Let's talk about your career athletically here at Audubon. 5 sports in the fall. You've played football and run cross country. Of course, in the winter, it's basketball season. In the spring, it's track season. And in the summer, it's baseball season. When you were a kid, did you work on all of these, or what sports did you kind of focus on as you were growing up as a young kid?
I think the first one I can remember is T-ball, probably, going way back to probably kindergarten age, maybe first grade. T-ball was the first one I started with, probably, and then I think 3rd or 4th grade I started in basketball. I was actually a wrestler too. I think starting kindergarten age with T-ball, I was a pretty good little wrestler, but then started basketball 3rd and 4th grade, and it stole my heart, I guess. So I stuck with basketball then, and track. We had an old set of hurdles out at my house that my sisters used to practice on, just in the yard or in the lane, and I would just watch them and try to pick up on some stuff, and that probably helped with my vertical, I guess. than I have now. Trying to jump those way before I was ready to, and then cross country. I guess I don't know when I started with that. Just junior high, the high school started trying to recruit some athletes for that, and I said, why not? I can give it a shot. And fell in love with that. And football, from a young age, I was like watching pro in college, and every Saturday and Sunday was all football and tossing a ball around the yard or in my house, even though Mom didn't like it, and just always liked playing football. So that's, yeah.
Let's focus on track for a second. You said you'd go out and run the hurdles probably before you could. How many bumps and bruises did you get trying to run those hurdles in your front yard or out on the driveway?
I can't remember too many. I think my sisters would make me stop before I got too carried away with anything, getting injured. But yeah, I remember falling down a few times, and even in high school I still stumble once in a while, but you just gotta keep going, keep working at it.
When were you able to beat your sisters? They were all great hurdlers and stuff. They've all made state. So when was it when you finally surpassed them in your hurdling ability?
I don't know exactly when, but probably around, I don't know if we would have raced when I was in junior high and they were in high school. I don't know how that would have shaken out, but that would have been an interesting race, I think.
Mitch, you've been to state twice in track. Talk about the different events you've been in, and you're going into your senior year, so I know you're probably dying and pushing yourself to get back this spring.
Yeah, freshman year we made it in the shuttle hurdle, and I think we returned 3 of the 4 guys that year, so we made it in shuttle again the next year, sophomore year, and I also made it in the 110 high hurdles sophomore year, and then junior year I made it in both the hurdling events again, and then 400-meter hurdles and the 4x4. We kind of stacked that all year, put some Trevor Smith and Jake and Tyler are all studs, and they lined us up in the 4x4, said we can go to state, so we did.
What event are you looking the most forward to being in this year in track?
I think the shuttle hurdle team, we returned all 4 from last year, and the 2 of them last year, Tyler Reboff and Nolan Smith, were freshmen, so they've probably grown a lot. Between freshman and sophomore year was a big jump, and we were even close to the school record last year in the shuttle, so I think we got a definite shot at that this year, and also we got second last year at state to an A1 team that went to 2A this year, so we're definitely looking to win state in the shuttle as well.
What memories do you take away from track when you look back, do you think 10 years from now? What are the races, what are the events, maybe even not even at state, maybe at one of your guys' Wheeler invites or at one of the other meets that you're going to go, that was the race, that was my favorite race?
I don't know if it was my favorite, but one that I really remember was freshman year at Avoca. I think it was my first or second meet running the high hurdles, and I fell over the third one, and that was the only time I ever fell in a competition over the hurdles, and that really pushed me to work harder on those that year, and I think that's why I qualified for state in the highs sophomore years, because I pushed myself the rest of freshman year to work on that. Probably my favorite one was, I think there was one, I can't remember where it was, but I want to say Guthrie. Sorry, I'm stumbling with this story.
That's okay.
I think we were in Guthrie, and they stacked their first 3. They put their first 3 runners on at the beginning of I can't remember which team it was either. They had an injury on their 4th guy, so they stacked the first 3 and tried to get out to a big lead and get everybody to get out of the race. But he had like a 2 or 3 hurdle lead on me, and I took off as the anchor leg, and I ended up catching him and beating him by just a couple of tenths to win that meet in the shuttle. And I don't know, I remember that one. Not too much about it, but I remember it.
What's the difference running the shuttle or the low hurdles compared to running the 400s for you, or running the highs, the 110s compared to the 400s, and how do you practice them both?
We spend most of our time in practice on the hurdles, and then, because that's all form and stuff, and the other times in practice we're just either working on handoffs or conditioning. We don't do too much with the specific distance, I guess. If we do run specifically 400s for a couple of days, but not too much. It's mainly just because it's open running, you just got to be in shape and have the mentality to go out and do it.
Now, a lot of people say the 400 hurdle is probably the worst race in all of track.
I
Why
agree
do you
with that.
enjoy it so much?
I don't know if I enjoy it that much, but it's hurdling, which I do love, and there's Coach Clark. He's a great hurdle coach, and when I first just got into 400 hurdles last year, I ran it a couple times freshman year, but it didn't go well. And then towards the end of the season, I started working on it last year, and I wanted to lead with my right leg every time over the hurdle because I use my right leg as a lead leg, and even all through junior high and high school and the shuttle and the highs, I'd use my right leg. But he said, nobody does that. Nobody takes the correct amount of steps between every hurdle to lead with the right leg. You have to alternate at least once or twice. So that's really my goal this year, is to push that stride length and keep the speed up the whole 400 to lead with my right leg every time. And I think that'll give me a good shot at Coach Clark's son has the 400-meter hurdle record, so we'll see if I can get that one.
Well, we wish you the best of luck breaking that record and also qualifying for state for a fourth straight year in track. Let's move on now and talk a little basketball, a season that just ended. I know when you guys came in as freshmen, you guys got, this senior group got a lot of playing time, and it wasn't very successful because you were so young having to play at the varsity level. How difficult was that coming in and not being able to win right away, but understanding that if you continued to work hard, that the future would be much brighter?
Yeah, and this group of guys is my age, our seniors this year. We loved basketball from a young age. We were always the biggest team. The grade above us would have 4 or 5 guys out, and the grade below us would have 5 or 6, and we'd have 8 or 9 guys out for basketball every year from our grade. Ended up with 6 or 7 this year, seniors, I think, which is a big class for this school, I think, for one group of guys playing basketball. And even though we weren't winning, we were loving playing, and we knew we were learning hard and fast, and that it was going to get better in the next couple of years if we kept working at it.
So through those early years, how difficult was it?
Yeah, it was not a lot of fun, I guess, the losing part, but at the end of the game, it wasn't fun for too much afterwards. But then you go back to practice the next day and remind yourself how much you love the game, even if it's tough every now and then. And we stayed at it. I think the senior that year, Andy Hoffman, he was the only senior, and we were all really fond of him. He was a really great guy, taught us a lot, and so we stayed out. And we wanted to make his season memorable, even if we couldn't get a win there. We wanted to make sure we knew that we loved playing with him, and we appreciate everything he did for us there.
What do you think you learned your freshman year that benefited you guys? I mean, your senior season, you have a great year. You're one of the top teams in a very difficult conference, and you ran into a team earlier, probably in the playoffs, than you needed to, as far as getting to state, a team that went on and made the state tournament.
Yeah, thinking back freshman year, I think I tried to forget about it a little too much. I just used it as momentum and forced me to work a little harder in the next coming years. I don't remember anything specific I learned from it besides, you got to work harder and keep working at it. So I can't really tell you what I learned too much. But, yeah, Manning, we talk about Manning beating us out of the playoffs there. We got a little grudge on them for that. We didn't beat them any time during our high school career, and we didn't beat Trainer either. We had 2 each year, so we had 8 tries at Trainer, and IQM didn't get them. We saw their name in our district, and we were really excited. We thought, the 9th time, we're going to get them, we're going to do this. And going in down 4 points at half, we thought we might still do it, but in halftime they got hot and we got freezing cold, so didn't quite get them. But yeah, that's all I always remember, not beating Manning for 9 times.
That'll probably push you for a long time, Mitch. Your junior and senior years much more successful here in basketball. Talk about what it was like to start winning games and feeling like you guys were one of the better teams in the area.
Yeah, we worked the summer before junior year. We got a new coach, and so we worked really hard to implement that new system in there, and it turned out to work out really well for us. And yeah, 9 games, I believe, junior year we won, which was a huge step up from 0 and then 1 win. And we were beating teams we shouldn't have, but we were still losing to teams that we should have beat, which is how I think basketball really should be. You never know what's going to happen, but the losses that we shouldn't have lost junior year probably pushed us even harder for senior year, where we didn't really lose a game that we should have won, I don't think. Except maybe the first one of the year, but we didn't have Tyler and Andrew there in that first game. So, and speaking of Tyler Reboff, he came in, and him and Josh Lang made a huge difference in my junior year and my senior year, putting in a lot of varsity time as freshmen and sophomores.
What are the memories you're going to take away from being a Wheeler basketball player, do you think?
I think just our basketball team is really a family. Andy Hoffman and Logan Bauer, he was the only senior in my sophomore year. They still text and ask us how games are going and how practice is going and stuff, and we stay in contact with them even, and we all love the game, we all love each other, and it was just awesome, I think, is the best word to describe it.
You say you love the game. What is it about basketball you love so much?
I love the competitiveness of it, I guess, and the physical stamina and the skill it takes. It takes both. You got to have the power and the finesse to do well. And I like that overall. As a whole, it's a good test for a person, I think.
Mitch, another sport that can test you a little bit, probably mentally more than anything, is baseball. You'll be starting your final season of that. You've probably already started to throw a little bit already to get ready for the baseball season. But take us through your baseball career. How much have you enjoyed it, and what are your memories going to be going into your senior year about your baseball career here in Audubon?
Yeah, baseball, it's always been not quite my favorite sport, but there's good guys out for it, and baseball is really close-knit, similar to basketball as well. We all like to be out there and throw the ball around. And I guess I'll always remember I'm always the last one to show up for anything, because in the summer I'm home all day and I live 15 miles away from the field, and everybody else lives in town, I think. So I'm always one of the last ones to show up for batting practice before a game or for evening practice, and I get a lot of grief for that. And I always remember my 8th grade year of baseball, which is you get 5 years in varsity baseball. Andy Hoffman and Michael Byland and Riley Jones gave me the nickname Captain Cutoff, because as you can see here, I just came from track practice. I always wear cutoffs, and I don't like the sleeves on the shirt restricting me, I guess, for some reason. But Captain Cutoff, I'll always remember that from baseball.
Has it stuck all these years?
Yeah, not too much. People don't call me it anymore as much, but I'll always remember the older guys. I think it was a little bit of initiation, kind of, because I got a little bit of varsity time 8th grade year, not too much, but it was helping me feel part of the team, I guess.
How much did that help you? As you said, baseball's not your favorite sport. How much did it help having an older group of guys kind of accept you, bring you in, and make you a part of the family that's kind of led you to continue to play that sport throughout your high school career? Yeah,
they've always just been awesome guys, and it's not my favorite sport, but I still would say I love it. I love baseball still, and it's in the summer, it's, you want to sit at home all day and do nothing, so it's tough to keep going with the sport. But yeah, it's the social aspect of it, I guess, is a big part. The guys are a lot of fun to be around, cracking jokes all the time, and the coaches as well, Coach Burks and Coach Christensen, Coach K as we call him, good guys, and they're really baseball smart. They help you in any phase of the game, and the mental toughness part of it, I think, would be a major reason I like to stay out for it as well, because it keeps the mind sharp over the summer when you're not doing schoolwork. And here's another memory, I guess, if I can share another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was 8th grade year, it might have been freshman year of baseball. We did a mental toughness drill where you held your arms straight out and your thumbs straight up for as long as you could, and it's not physically demanding, it's just who has the mental power to keep it out there. And I ended up winning that. We had a little team contest. We stood in a circle and held our arms out, and I went for 16 minutes holding my arms straight out, and I beat the rest of the team, I guess, so I'll always remember that.
Anybody come close to you?
Yeah, Colton Jensen, who was a senior that year, I think, he went out at 14:40 or something, and then, 14:40, I think he went out. It might have been later than that, because I think Coach Brooks told me when he went out, Colton went out at 15:20 or something, and Coach Brooks told me I might as well go to 16 minutes. somebody else went out at 14:40, I can remember, because then I was like, 15 minutes is a good accomplishment, but Colton didn't go out at 15. Colton and I were chatting back and forth. He said he was going to go out at 15 no matter what, but he stayed for another 20 seconds to see if I could handle it. So I really appreciated that. And, kind of lying to me about that helped me mental toughness, I think.
Your senior year coming up, what's the plan? How good can you guys be this year? You got a great group of kids coming back.
Yeah, I think we can be really good. Seniors last year I can't think of the seniors really lost this year. Colby Rottenberg, maybe.
Yeah.
Or Lucas Smith-Peterson, but they might have been a year ago. But, yeah, we returned a lot of our lineup, and we got some good hitters coming back. Mickey Williamson, he can hit the ball, and he's a heck of a first baseman. And we returned a lot of good infielders and outfielders and pitchers alike. And River Knuven behind the plate, he's a machine back there. And we're going to get swinging the bats more, I think, was our biggest issue. We couldn't put up the points we needed to, even though we could play the defense we needed to last year. So I think a lot of batting practice this year will help us get to where we think we can be, which is up there in the conference top 2 or 3.
Mitch, we're leaving the probably the hardest season for you to last here, the fall. You participate in 2 sports. Cross country, which I love to run, but running as much as you do in cross country scares me a little. And then, of course, football, a sport I'm very passionate about as myself. What led you as a freshman? I know you said some of the older guys would talk to you when you were younger, and you said, what the heck, I'll try it. But to go out for 2 sports as a freshman at the same time, what went into that thought process?
Yeah, 7th grade and 8th grade year, they said we could do both cross country and football, and so I did them both because I thought I might as well try it. And then towards the end of 8th grade year, they started saying, so which one are you going to do? You're going to do football or cross country? And I thought about it for a long and hard time, and thought about it long and hard, and I still couldn't decide which one it was. And everybody said, well, you can't do both. You really got to choose one, I think. And then everybody saying I couldn't do 2 sports in the fall really pushed me to stay in love with both of them and not have to pick one. And just proving people wrong, I think, and showing that I could do both all 4 years was a big thing.
How did you keep up with football practice, getting your running in for cross country, and then also the homework throughout this 4 years, and to be as successful in all of the sports as what you've been?
Yeah, it's tough. The cross country, I practice in the morning before school every day, run a couple miles, and then go to school, of course, and I got the tough classes. And then football is about as physically demanding as something can get, and mentally. And I don't know, just got to stay on top of things, keep a positive attitude about everything, I think was the main thing. Because I would get done this 8th period of school and I'd be exhausted and then have to throw on football pads and go get hit a few times. So the mental ability to keep a positive mindset on everything and then get even more drained after football but still be able to do a little homework at home after school is a big thing.
Mitch, a lot of times cross-country meets are Thursdays and Saturdays with football on Friday night. How did you work out to be able to have the energy to be successful in both sports? I'm assuming you had to take a few Thursday nights off maybe to keep yourself fresh for the football games on Friday, or was it just mentally having yourself ready to go Thursday, Friday, and then sometimes bright and early Saturday morning?
Yeah, just we don't have any Saturday meets, I guess. I was on Monday or Thursday or a couple on Tuesday. And so that was, I don't know if I would have been able to do a Saturday meet now that you say that. Because, yeah, Saturday morning after a football game is just the worst time to be. But, yeah, skipping football practice once and sometimes twice a week to run a cross-country meet and then having to come in and do it Friday and be able to run new plays that they put in that week with them. I'd have to learn them when, like, the one day I was there that week, or sometimes Friday before the game would be the only offensive day I would get that week because of a meet on Tuesday, which is usually our offensive practice. And, yeah, it was really tough. You just got to stay ahead of everything, I think, is the main thing. And a big thing that I get a lot of grief about from my friends and stuff is I don't drink any pop and I don't eat too much junk food. I think the nutrition and the water was a huge part of me being able to do both of those at the same time as well.
two-time state cross-country qualifier. Which one meant more to you? Was it this year because you were sick and missed kind of a part of the time and had to kind of battle through the illness just to be able to qualify for the state cross-country meet?
Yeah, I really liked both my qualifications for state, I guess. Junior year, I sprained my ankle the Friday night at Tri-Center, and it was 6 days later, the next Thursday was the district meet. And I taped it up and braced it up and popped 2 Advil, went out and ran a district cross-country meet and qualified for state, so I was really proud of that one. And then senior year, I was really determined to do well in cross-country because, I had mononucleosis, or whatever they call it. Mono, I guess, is the short term, and that took me out of the second half of football that year, which really hit me hard, and so I focused a little more on cross-country because with the large spleen, which is a symptom of the mono, I couldn't take any hits from football, but I could still run a little bit for cross-country, so that really pushed me and ended up winning the conference cross-country meet. A lot of C's there. This year, I think missing football really pushed me to win that, and then also, qualify for state as well.
Missing football, how much did that hurt with as good as this team was? You guys were ranked number 1 at one point in the season. You guys were rolling over almost everybody you played. Even some of the really good competition, you guys were handling them pretty well. How difficult was it to not get to be a part of that as much as you probably would have loved to have been?
Yeah, that was kind of, I don't know if I want to say the hardest thing I've ever been through, but which is a weird thing to think that it's just a game that I was missing. But that was probably one of the hardest things I've been through, having to watch, my team, especially. It wasn't too hard when they were winning. I was celebrating with them, but then the district game against, who was it now? I can't think. Lawton Bronson.
Bronson, yep.
It started the second half, and we still hadn't scored, but they were only up 2 scores. We were all getting pretty amped at halftime, but I think we kicked off to them, and they were driving, and they got to about midfield, and I played left defensive end, and they ran 3 or 4 sweeps, the exact same play, over to my side. As a defensive end, you got to stop this sweep and not let anything get outside of you. And that was just the hardest thing for me to watch. I think that's when I started crying because I knew it was going to get over. It was going to be over because they were going to keep attacking the side where I wasn't anymore, and that really bothered me. They were running to my side over and over again. They ended up scoring that drive, and then they saw a couple other people's head drop and kind of realized, not drop, but droop a little bit more. They kind of realized it was going to be over, and then it was a long drive too. It took about half the third quarter, I think, and then that really mentally and physically drained the whole team. And I think that was really, that's when I started crying, I guess, and really realized it was over.
For you, once your career's over, what do you think you're going to look back on as an athlete and say, those were my memories of playing? Which sport do you think it'll be you'll remember the most, or which moments?
That's a really tough question. When I do look back, I look back on it even now a little bit. I like to go through as a school year would go, I guess. So I look at football and cross-country memories, and then I think through all the sports, basketball, then track, then baseball, in the chronological order that they happen in. And because I can't really just pick one to remember. I got to remember them all because they're all really important to me.
Mitch, and I don't want to put you on the spot with this. This is going to be maybe a tough question. I talk to a lot of kids, as you know, and I hear a lot of kids talk about too many things, and I say it sometimes. We push kids to play every sport almost every year, year-round anymore, and it gets difficult to do it. What advice do you give kids as a guy that played 5 sports in high school, that didn't specialize and focus in on just one sport and also got the good grades? What advice do you give to the other high school kids or maybe to young kids that may watch this, that you can do it? There is the time in the day to be able to play multiple sports, to be successful in the classroom and on the athletic fields and on the athletic courts as well.
Well, I guess my mom always tells me, the classroom is first. You're worried about the grades, and they even call you student athletes, which the student comes first, and then the athletes and the athletics. So, if you can't get your schoolwork done without doing all 5 sports or all 4 sports or however many you're going to do, then that's probably when you got to cut it down to 1 or 2, I think. But specializing, if you can choose and you have a sport that you love, I guess, then you should specialize in it. But I just couldn't decide, and if you're having trouble deciding, you can do 2 sports, and sometimes you're running on 5-6 hours of sleep, but you got to remember every day how much you love what you're doing, and then it's how much you love it allows you to do it, I guess.
Mitch, any thought of coaching someday?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but I don't know, being in a career that's outside of the school might be a little more difficult to get a coaching job, but yeah, I've definitely thought about it.
Well, I tell you what, I appreciate all your time here this evening. I know you got homework to do, and you got school coming up tomorrow morning, so we appreciate it as always and look forward to seeing you come track season.
Yeah, I appreciate it from you. Thanks.
Mitchell Nelsen again with the Audubon Wheelers. Again, this interview brought to you, of course, by Western Iowa Networks and Carroll Broadcasting.